Okay, hope you're ready to continue your coding journey. We're going to learn a little bit more HTML and CSS. It's a pretty exciting time. So to get you started, what we're going to do is actually create a new directory. We're going to do mkdir. Remember that? That's how you create a directory. Fun with CSS. Now we're going to cd into fun with CSS, meaning we're going to change directory. cd fun. I spelled with wrong. And then we're going to touch two files. We're going to touch an index.html, and we're going to touch a script, not a script, a style.css. Now, you might wonder, what is this new file, style.css? In your last lesson, you learned that you put your style and your HTML in one file. What we're actually going to do is create two files here. Why didn't it show up? Oh. The reason we do this is because when you code in languages, you want to keep your code separate. So I want my HTML in one file, which we'll keep here, and I want my styles in another file. And we'll link the two files. But in general, whenever you write in a different language, you keep them separated. So instead of putting it all in one file, we're going to have two different files. So let's get this started. If you type HTML, here's a little pro tip. You press enter, it kind of starts you off. So you got your doc type and your HTML. Now we're going to create two tags. You might remember this. We have our head tag and we have our body tag. In the head tag, we're going to put a title. We're going to do fun with CSS. All right. And what we have to do to link these two files so they can talk to each other is we use this thing called link. So what you do is link. We're going to do type equals style sheet. And then we're going to do href, which is the file path name. So where is this file? So you can computer look it up. And it's actually in the same, you'll see it's in the same file. So all we have to do is write the name of the file, which is the href is style.css. That means go look for this file, style.css. That's where we keep all our style. So now we can start actually writing out our code. All right, what the user's going to see now that we've got things linked up. Okay, pretty straightforward. So remember, the head is where you put the behind the scenes stuff. Body is where we're going to put what the user sees. And what I want my website to have is I want to have three sections. All right, we're going to have three main sections today. So what we're going to do is, if you want three sections, I'm going to create three divs. Div 1, div 2, and div 3. Ooh. Let's actually put these close to each other. All right, so three divs. That means I'm actually dividing my page into three parts. All right. Now, just to give you a sense of what this looks like, what we're going to do is this thing called ID. I'm going to give this thing an ID. So it's basically giving this div a name. I'm going to call this top. I'm going to give this one an ID of middle. And give this one an ID of bottom. All right, so I have three divs now. I have top, middle, and bottom. And if you were to preview this page right now, you'd see nothing, right? Because we actually have anything. I just have three sections. But you can't see those three sections. Everything's white. There's nothing inside of them. So what I want to do is make it so you can actually see these, all right? So what we're going to do is we're going to head over to our style.css. And what we're going to do is actually style these three divs. So for this first one, I'm going to do like this. I'm going to do hashtag top. And that means I use hashtags when I want it to be an ID. So before we didn't put the hashtag there, you might have just remembered you did H1 and then you started H1 and you just started writing your code on how you want to style it. Now, if we're using an ID, we want to style something by its ID, we do hashtag first. Hashtag top. And then your curly braces is where you put what you want to see inside of it. So first I want to give this div a height. So I'm going to give this div a height of 100, actually let's start with this, 500 px, okay? So the height of this div will be 500 pixels, all right, and let's give it a background color. Background color of red, okay? Now if you save that and you look at it, you'll see I have a red background for 500 pixels. Well, let's do this again for the middle, so you can see the separation here. So now I'm going to do middle. Okay, and this one I'm going to give a height of, I don't know, 200. Actually, that makes no sense. Let's do 300 pixels. All right, and we're going to give this one a background. Oh, I forgot my dots here. That's why those little X's occur. A background color of blue. Okay, Nice, right? So you see how this one's a little smaller? So this one was 500 pixels, so it's bigger. This one's 300 pixels. And then let's do our bottom one. So hashtag bottom is equal to, let's give it a height of, I don't know, 200 pixels. Does that sound good, guys? Yeah, let's give this one actually 800 pixels. Make it nice and big. And we'll give it a background color of yellow. Who doesn't like a good yellow color? So if you look now, I have my page was now divided into 3 different sections. I have my red one, my blue one, and my yellow one. Looks good to me, right? So this is how you'd start making a web page, right? You want to start by sectioning off. Pages are usually started by divs. You make different sections. So like if you went to any page, I don't know, let's go Facebook. Nah, I don't want you to see my Facebook information. What's a good web page to go to? Let's go to NewYorkTimes.com, which is my favorite website. If you look here, there's actually divs that you can see. So if you look from like here to here, there's actually your first div, right? That's like the header. And then you have like another div here. This is where they put some more content. And then you have another div here, right? And if you look within each div, like from here to here, right, we have a div where we put all this middle content. And then like there's divs within these divs to section off further, but let's not even get into that. That'll blow your mind. But you'll see that every website is actually sectioned off into like these different like divs, right? There's an advertisement div, there's another div here. So you want to start by making your div. So we started with 3 divs, that's what we got. So today I actually want to make something a little bit more interesting. So let's okay. So sorry, I cut off and now I'm back. So what we're going to do is actually make a little bit more my website about a cat today. All right, my cat that I love, and I'll show you how to make this look a little sexier than just this 3 divs. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to add an H1 to our top div. So we're going to do H1. I'm going to say Mr. Siegel's cat. Oh, and you know what? I added that there where you were looking. Let's get that out of there. All right, and let's give this also an ID so we can style it. So we're going to give it an ID of top text. Okay. Now, if we go to our style.css, underneath top, we're going to do this thing called top text. So I'm going to just style this. And the color of this text, I'm going to make it white. See how it just turned white? And you know what? Let's make it look a little nicer. Let's make it to uppercase. Text transform. And let's make this uppercase. Ooh, looking a little nice. And you know what? Let's make the font family. Let's change the font of this and let's make it Helvetica. Now it's looking really good. Now, the way we can actually move this thing around so it's in the middle, there's a lot of ways to do it. The way I like to do it is we're going to do this thing called position absolute. We'll talk a little bit about what that is. Okay. Oh, I forgot my semicolon there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it to the right and left. So I'm going to say left 50%. See how now it pushes off the left 50% of the page. Okay. And then I'm going to go down, top. It's going to push off the top now. Let's do it 30%. Ooh, see how I'm moving it around? Now you're still saying it's like a little bit to the right. So let's actually move it over a little. So this is another transform that we can do. Transform. Little geometry right now. We're going to translate it. Negative 50%. And if you look here, now it's perfectly in the middle. So just to say what we did, we made the position absolute. Don't worry too much about that. I moved it to the left 50% of the screen, so I went to this left 50. Then I went down, I pushed off the top 30% of the screen, so I went down by 30% of the screen. And then I transformed it by moving it back. If you take this out, right, I just want to show you what this does. What it does is, now it's actually 50% starting here. It's actually, my M starts middle of the page. I want to move it back by 50%, so I'm going to transform it 50% backwards, and now it's perfectly in the middle. So that's a good way to get things in the middle. Let's actually make this a little bit bigger too. It doesn't look great now, so we'll do font size. Let's make that, I don't know, let's do 50 pixels. Nice and big. All right, Mr. Siegel's cat. All right. Great. So let's actually see my cat in the next div. All right, so in my next div, I'm going to actually put my image. All right, so let's put an image here. You know what? Actually, I'm going to put a div around this image. You'll see why in a second. So let's make another div. We'll call this, I got a good name for this, ID. We're going to give it cat box. Yeah, see what I did there? And then we're going to put an image inside of here. IMG, sorry, img with a source. Remember, this is where we had our cat image. It's empty for now. Let's find our cat image and put it in here. So let's find our cats. I happen to have Googled cat. I have a cat right here. I'm going to copy the image address. Bam. And let's put it in here and save it. And hopefully I see a cat there. Whoa. The cat is there, but it's massive. Way too big, right? So this is the actual size of the cat image. So what we're going to have to do is size up this cat a little bit. We need to move it around a little bit. Okay? So yeah, let's make this cat just a little bit smaller. All right, I don't really like the way it looks right now. So I'll show you some things that you could do to this. So let's see. Our image needs to have an ID. We'll call this cat image. And let's add a little style to this cat image. Okay, so we're going to go after middle. We're going to do this cat image. And what we can do is start sizing it. So right now it's huge. But we're going to set this thing called width. And that's like how long you want it to be. I want it to be only 300 pixels. A little bit smaller, okay? Oh, see how it got so much smaller? That's perfect. It's actually 300 pixels, so it's perfectly top to bottom. All right? In fact, let me just make this a little bit bigger. I'm going to make this the same size as the other div. Okay, so perfect. Now, if you look at this, our cat, it's just a little bit... Oh, for some reason, this preview isn't working very well. But if you look at the cat, it's in the top left-hand corner. I actually just want to move it a little bit to the left. So the way you move it is you just go like this. You add a margin. And let's just add it 35%. So that means it's going to move 35% to the left. And you see how this moves to the left? Let me just preview this, see, hope it's working. No, it's just not working. Okay, so it moves 35% to the left. So let's actually call that margin left. All right, sweet. Now to add a little to the top, you see how it's really close to the top right here? I want to add a little space over to the top of it. I'm going to do margin top. And let's just do 5%. Oh, 5%. All right, so now it's moving around. I can move it towards the center. If you think you can move it more to the center, just play around with these numbers. Now, finally, I want to show you guys how to add a border to things, okay? So what I want to do is actually add a border to this div around the cat. So the way I'm going to do that is, you might remember I called it cat box. So I'm going to go like this, cat box. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of margin to this thing. I'm just going to add a 5% margin to this. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is add some, see how it moves a little bit away. I'm going to now, I'm going to just add some border to this. So I'm going to make a border style of solid. So I'm going to get a solid border. Like if you see, so if you look here, see I've got dark black. You could use other things. You could say dotted. There's all kinds of things. See how it's dotted now? But we're going to make a solid border. We're going to do a border size of 3 pixels. Okay. Why did I spell that wrong? Border width, sorry, equals 3 pixels. Make sure let's make it 5 pixels. All right, let's change the color of it. We'll do border color. Let's make it green, because who doesn't like green? And then let's actually just do one last thing now that we got our border. And let's make it a little bit rounded also. Let's just round this out a little. All right, so we're going to do border radius is 20%. Now you do this in percentages because you could like round it 20%. You could do like 100% to make it perfectly round. You see? And you could do 5% if you want just to round a little bit. See how it rounds the edges over there? So now we just round out the edges. I think that looks a little bit better. And you know what? This cat image, let's make this a circle also. So let's do a border radius on this guy too, on the cat image. Let's make that 100%. Now it's a nice circle. So that's my website. That's it for today. And what I've just taught you should be enough to complete your lab. All right, so good luck. Mr. Siegel's cat website is looking dope. Let's see if the preview works now. My God. Oh, hey, you guys see it? So I got my div. I got Mr. Siegel's cat. It looks whack as hell, but this should be enough information so you guys can actually start completing that lab. So good luck. That's it for today's lesson. God bless and kiss your mother.